Yay. Welcome everyone as you're coming into the Zoom room. Welcome, welcome. We'll get started in just a minute or two once everybody's had a chance to settle in, I think. Great. All right, well, welcome. A few more people might join here in a minute, but I'll get started and can loop back if I need to. My name is Emily, Emily Hendershot from the department at Stanford University that's called Stanford Pre-Collegiate Studies. I'm here today to share a little bit more about the summer programs that we offer. Oh, I see some more people coming in. Welcome, welcome. So I'll be sharing more about the programs that are offered this summer in 2023 and with a variety of topics and and academic interests. So we'll be able to talk a little bit more about those programs, and we'll have a Q&A portion as well at the end of the presentation part. So you'll see some instructions there in the chat for everyone that you'll be able to add your questions to the Q&A as we go, and then I'll be able to answer them at the end. You can also ask questions about NHSS as well if you have those. Great. Just waiting to see if some more folks might join. It's funny to see this picture of the Stanford campus because right now it's pouring rain, but most of the time it looks like this with a little bit of sunshine, and especially in the summer it's pretty hot, but just sort of ironic considering so much rain happening in the Bay Area recently. Great. I'll just give everyone just another moment to settle in before I start. I can say hi to everyone who's watching the recording in the future, so you might have fast forwarded through this part, and that's fine. Awesome. All right, well, we'll get started. So welcome to everybody who's just joined in the last minute or so. My name is Emily Hendershot. I'm from Stanford Pre-Collegiate Studies, a department at Stanford University. We specifically offer programs for students who are not in college yet, hence the pre-collegiate. And so I'll be sharing more about our programs in summer 2023. So with that, I'll get started on sharing about our programs, and please feel free to put questions in the Q&A pod of the Zoom room, and I'll answer them when we're done with the presentation. So the reason that Stanford University has this department, I think a lot of people are kind of curious about why the university would offer this, but we really want to offer these types of academic programs to students who are really motivated to seek out this type of experience and learn from other students who are interested in the same thing. So as you'll be able to see, the courses and program opportunities are pretty varied, very intentionally, so that we can really help students who are seeking out a very rigorous academic experience. So the first program I'll share about today is an all-online program. This one is called Pre-Collegiate Summer Institutes. As you'll notice, they all start with the word Stanford. So when you're reviewing the websites or looking through the different programs, be sure to keep track of the actual program name. I think it's really helpful. So Summer Institutes is a 2-week program, and it's all online. It's open to students in grades 8 through 11. So this is sort of the widest grade level range of all of our programs. What it offers is online classes, as I mentioned, where you're in groups of about 17 students, so a pretty small group, and the classes are live, meaning that you log on at a specific time, you're with the same teacher and the same students for the entire 2 weeks of your class. and that you really get to know one another. There's definitely the expectation of discussion and interaction. That's a pretty big priority for us. So it's definitely not like watching a lecture. There is the expectation that you might watch a lecture as part of your homework or as part of preparing for the discussion part of class. And so you can expect about 2 hours daily would be the live portion, and then about 3 to 5 hours of study time. And this could also be reading, not necessarily watching a lecture, or it could even be small group study work. Like you might be linked up with a partner or a small group and be able to work on things together. There's also office hours that are available as part of this program, and it's usually like 2 times a week, although depending on the class, sometimes 3 is needed. And this is a really great opportunity too, if you have questions about the assignment or even just about something tangentially related to the class subject. Office hours are a really neat way to connect with your teacher more directly. As part of this, there's also online like social events that are part of the classes. So that's what we call the student life workshops. It's just sort of a catch-all name for what all the activities are. And so more information about those kind of workshops will be posted a little bit later on in the spring. So you can keep an eye out for that. So as you're probably wondering, like, what are the courses involved in this program? Well, we have 55 different courses this summer, so there's really a very big range. So I definitely encourage you to look at the list of courses online. The course catalog is already posted, and each class has a course summary so that you can really see, what the content of the course will be. Some highlights of the subjects are definitely like bioscience and different types of environmental science are a highlight this year, as well as mathematics. We have 3 or 4 different advanced math courses, as well as some like specialty math courses for 8th and 9th grade students that are different than your regular geometry or pre-calc that you would have in school. There's also philosophy courses that are pretty special, and they're taught by instructors at Stanford Online High School, where they have a specialty in philosophy. And in fact, a lot of these courses in the Summer Institutes are taught by instructors from Stanford Online High School. So they're already really, really familiar and experts in teaching online. So there's 2 different sessions of this Summer Institutes program. So if you're busy in June, July is still an option. Take a look at the dates and see if that might be something that works for your schedule. And if you're available for both, it's possible to apply for both sessions, so you don't have to limit yourself. But if you're only available for one, then you can select that your availability is just for July, for example. The tuition for this program is $3,050, and that covers the course itself, the certificate that you get at the end, and any of the like materials that you get during the class. I think there's only a handful of classes where you might need to buy some supplies outside of the class. It sort of depends. It'll be listed in the class if there's extra materials there, but tuition is otherwise covering the entire online program. So I will definitely come back to the Summer Institutes program in the Q&A portion. So feel free to put more questions into the Q&A pod, and I'll get to them in a little bit. So the next program that's offered at our department for the summer is the Summer Humanities Institute, or SHI program. And this is a 3-week in-person program at Stanford University campus. So we call this residential. This is open to students who are currently in grades 10 and 11. So if you're not yet in 10th grade, then this might be an option for a future summer for you because the grade level requirements are firm. And so this is definitely something that, if you're interested in an in-person program and being on a college campus this summer, this is something definitely to consider. This program is also taught by Stanford University faculty from the humanities departments at the university, which is a really neat opportunity to connect with those experts. And especially the entire program has a focus on the humanities. So it's not, like sort of an interdisciplinary program. It is definitely very pure humanities. And so, for students who are really gung-ho about those types of subjects, I'm thinking history and literature, and obviously I'll talk about the courses on the next slide, but if you're, very much into pure humanities, this is a really great and unique program for that. As part of this, there's also a lot of opportunity for discussion, same as the program I was previously talking about, because the discussion setting is really critical for the experience of students. And then I think students also have a big writing project as well. So for students who are passionate about the humanities, writing typically goes hand in hand. And that's something that students really get to work on in depth, in the Stanford libraries and with other sort of resources on campus as well. So we are offering 8 courses in this program this summer. That I definitely recommend to go check out the course summaries for these courses as well. Even as we were preparing these programs, some of these courses really just jumped out at me. So I'm very envious of the students who will be participating this summer. Definitely look through and see if there are any that catch your eye on particular topics, because it's possible to apply for 4 different classes or one class 4 times if you're just particularly motivated by one of these. So there's sort of that option there to show your interest in multiple courses. You can only take 1 course in this program for the summer. So even if you apply for 4 of these, we'll place you in 1. There's also 2 different sessions available for the Summer Humanities Institute. So again, if you're not available for part of June and would really be more interested in the July/August session, great. That's an intentional opportunity so that, hopefully it fits with everybody's summer that wants to participate. And the tuition for this program is $8,250, and that includes room and board, meaning like you stay at the residence hall on Stanford campus. So that includes your room and meals from the dining halls and other sorts of activities and social events that are held as part of the in-person program, as well as the operations of the program, like the health and safety and security requirements and supports that we have in place. So, helpful things to know about these programs is that the Summer Humanities Institute, the in-person program, the date to apply is February 1st, so coming up pretty soon. And then the online program, Summer Institutes, I realize the names are very similar, but the online program has a deadline of March 15th. So keep that in mind if you're interested in these programs. Those deadlines are firm, so we don't accept late applications or offer rolling applications or anything. So if you're interested to apply, these are important dates to keep in mind. And if you have more questions, definitely email us. We have a team that helps to answer questions from prospective students and applicants, even as you're going through the application. And we're glad to help answer questions about the materials that are required or the different types of program options available, whatever it may be. So please feel free to email us, but you'll find a lot of information on our website as well. And the link is there in the gray bar below. So definitely check out the website, reach out to us if you have any questions, but those are the first 2 programs that I'll talk about today. So I see there are some, thank you for putting that in the chat. I see there are some questions that I'll answer about these before I pivot to talking about the other programs. What is the maximum number of courses you can take at once? 1. For both the Summer Institutes and the Summer Humanities Institute, students can apply for more than 1, and you give us your rank choice preferences of, which courses you really want the most. But students only ever are admitted to 1 class, and you take 1 class with the program in the summer. It's actually possible to apply to both of these programs for the same summer, but if you're admitted to 1 program, then that's the program you participate in. It's not possible to do both in 1 summer. Great question. Can you participate in both sessions for the same cost, or is the cost respective to each session? So for each of the programs that offers like session 1 of the Humanities Institute or session 2 of the Humanities Institute, it's the same cost. And it's not possible to do both sessions. You can only do one. Great. Oh, are there scholarships or financial aid for these programs? Yes, there is, most definitely. We don't want the cost to keep students from participating if they're really motivated to do so. And all of our financial aid is need-based, means that there's a separate financial aid application where you share more about your family's financial situation, and it's separate from the program application. So you apply to maybe the program with the courses and like more of the academic details, and then in a separate account you apply for financial aid and your family shares more details about your financial situation, and then aid is awarded based on the budget that we have and the need that students have in order to make the program affordable. But it's our goal to help as many students as possible. So if you're considering the program and are thinking that financial aid may help you, please do apply. The date to apply for financial aid is 1 week after the regular program deadline, and that's online, the date as well. A good question from Leslie and a good distinction is, are there scholarships for these programs? So we only offer the need-based financial aid. There's not any merit scholarships for these programs. For Rajveer, which website can we go to see these programs? Great question. We're definitely a very website heavy communicating team. So the website is just here at the bottom, spcs.stanford.edu. And that website's actually really helpful too, because it will show the total number of programs offered by our department. And I'll talk about a few more here in a second. But you can sort based on like which grade level you're in, and it'll show you what programs are available, or if you're interested in a particular subject, it'll tell you which programs offer that. So that sort of program sort and filter page at the Pre-Collegiate Studies website is really helpful, I think. Is this program for credit? Great question. No, they are not. So these programs are not offered for academic credit, whether for high school or college. What students earn as being part of the program is that you earn a certificate of participation, which you can include in college applications. They're very familiar with the certificates at this point. But then you also get an evaluation from your teacher. And so for the Summer Institutes program, the online program, this is a recommendation letter from the teacher that teaches your specific class and knows you. And then for the Summer Humanities Institute, it's a letter from the Stanford University faculty that teaches your class. So definitely those are really useful for including in college applications or scholarship applications as well. Are the classes on Stanford grounds? Yes. The Summer Humanities program is in person on Stanford campus. The Summer Institutes program is only online. And I'll talk a little bit more about another in-person program that we offer. And so what that means for being in person is you stay in the residence halls on campus, you eat in the dining halls that students use during the school year, and you have access to the different sort of resources at Stanford campus that include tennis courts and swimming pools, and they have a rock climbing wall in the gym and all those sorts of things, but as well as the really, really excellent libraries. There are music and live events. There are guest speakers that come to Stanford campus all throughout the year. So if you're on campus during that time in the summer, you'd be able to participate in those things as well. Are there any programs for 12th graders? Great question. Not through our department. There aren't any programs for 12th graders. There is another program at Stanford University that is available for 12th graders, and I can put the name of that program in the chat for the hosts to share. But that program is actually hosted by a different department on campus, so I'm not able to share about it here, but I do know that it's offered to current 12th graders before they go off to college. It's also open to undergraduate students who maybe go to other universities but want to take a summer class at Stanford. So that program, Summer Session, is a really good option. And you can find out more information about them online. If you search for those terms, Summer Session, it will show you programs for 12th graders. Do these programs count as extracurriculars or academic courses? Yes, so definitely extracurriculars, academic courses, yes, they're just not offered for credit. So it depends on what your college application asks for. Sometimes there's different parts. You're asking an admissions person, right? So I get very technical about it. But depending on the way that your application is set up, they may ask for courses with transcripts, which these programs would not be that. But they might also ask about academic extracurriculars, and these programs would be academic extracurriculars. So sort of depends. You can look in and see what the colleges of your interest would ask about that. Can I still apply for these programs if my high school is dual enrolled with college courses, or is it only for those without college credits? Anyone can apply. So if your school offers dual enrollment, you're welcome to apply. That's not actually a marker of eligibility or something that we evaluate in the admissions process at all. So feel free to apply whether or not your school has dual enrollment. Are there office hours for the in-person programs? Yes, definitely. I was actually part of a meeting earlier today where we were talking about the prospective day-to-day schedules for the in-person programs, and there's office hours available almost every weekday, which is really helpful. How do I apply for financial aid for the summer session? As I said, that's a different program in a different department, so you'll have to check with them about their financial aid process. For the Summer Institutes or the Summer Humanities Institute, information about how to apply for financial aid is on our website, and it's sort of a parallel application to the program application. So apply to the program first, because that deadline is earlier, and then you'll see there are step-by-step instructions on how to apply for financial aid, just like on another page of the same program website. What is the acceptance rate for these programs? That's a good question. However, we found that number can be really intimidating, so we intentively don't publish it. So if you're interested in these programs, we encourage you to apply. Don't let the acceptance rate be a motivating factor or an intimidating factor for you. About the middle school scholars program, I definitely can. I didn't present or prepare a slide for that today, but I'm part of the admissions committee for the middle school scholars program, so I can talk a little bit about that at the end if you like. I'll save that question for sure. All right, I am going to switch to a different presentation real quick. Here was the questions break slide. That here you can see a different view of the Stanford quad, but with many more dramatic rain clouds. So I wanted to share a little bit more about more of the STEM topic programs that we offer, and a lot of the same information about office hours, and if it's online or in person, a lot of those same factors will apply to the programs I'm about to talk about too. So one program that you'll see listed on our website is the Stanford University Math Camp, otherwise lovingly known as SUMaC. This is a 3 to 4 week program, and this program is pretty special because it's very purely about advanced mathematics. So not computer science, not economics. It is very much like theoretical advanced math, and for students who are very passionate about math specifically. This program is open to students in grades 10 and 11. Those grade requirements are also firm, so 9th graders are not eligible, but you can think about this program for a future year. And that this year in 2023, the SUMaC program is going to be offered in 2 different formats, meaning that there's an online version of the program and then also an in-person version of the program. So if you're interested to study math in person on Stanford campus this summer, there's an opportunity to do that. However, SUMaC is the most selective out of all of our programs. So there are many students who might apply to SUMaC as well as the Summer Institutes program that has math classes together, so that if they aren't selected for SUMaC, they can still apply and show their interest for the advanced math courses in the other program. This program is also not for academic credit. Students participate in discussions with their teacher, but then also with teaching assistants and other group projects as they solve some very complicated, math topics and puzzles and sort of philosophical math questions. There's an exam that you actually have to complete in order to apply for this program. And in reviewing the exam, I can tell that math is not my forte, but I definitely have seen many students look at the exam and their eyes light up. So if you get that feeling when you look at the exam, I encourage you to apply. This year, we're offering courses in abstract algebra and number theory. So this is not like the kind of math class you would have in a regular school day. As well as algebraic topology. So to learn more about what those things are and the topics of math that would be included, head to the SUMaC website, because that will make much more sense than any way that I'm able to explain it here as a humanities major in college myself. As you can see, the costs for the online program are lower because obviously there's no room and board that's needed for the online program. So if costs might be a consideration for your family, you can think about whether you're interested to apply to the online or the in-person program. But the SUMaC program actually lets you apply for both. So if you're interested in either the in-person or online, there's a place in the application to say whichever one. If there's a space in either, I'm interested. The deadline to apply for this program is also February 1st, so coming up soon. So if you're interested in this SUMaC program, start an application so that you can look at the exam. That's the part that I would start first. The exam is definitely the kind of thing where you'll want to devote some time to writing out your solutions, because there's 6 questions, and some of the questions have sub-questions, and some of the questions involve doing some very complex drawings. So definitely take a look at the exam earlier rather than the day before the deadline. As part of this, there are some things you have to write. People are always kind of surprised that in the application for a math camp program that there's some writing involved, but we're definitely very interested to learn more about why students are interested in pure math. So you'll see all the questions are math related, but definitely don't skip on that part of the application either, because we're very interested to see, what students are thinking about and applying to this program and why it would be a good fit for their interest in math. All right. Another program that we offer is called the Stanford Math Circle. This is actually open to 12th graders, so I apologize for not including it in my earlier statement about that. But this program is also open to some of the youngest students, all the way back to grade 1. So if you know any youngsters who are looking for math enrichment, Stanford Math Circle is something that you could consider. Obviously, for students in this group, it's probably in the older grades for yourselves, but the 9 through 12 Stanford Math Circle group is really active. They meet once a week. And the way that it works is it's not an admissions process so much as a registration process. And you register like 1 or 2 months before. There is financial aid available for this program as well, but because it's during the school year and it meets once a week, the cost for it is $450 per term. So very different cost perspective compared to the longer summer programs. There's also, because it is first come, first serve type of registration, there's a way to submit an interest form on our website. And I would suggest doing it whenever you're interested. Just submit the form, and that way you'll be kept up to date on when the next registration cycle is, how to put your name in the hat for financial aid. I say that casually. The financial aid process is formal, but how to indicate your interest in financial aid. so that, yeah, check out the Stanford Math Circle website, because the dates can vary according to the different quarters. Stanford University runs on quarters, so Math Circle also runs on quarters, and it's available during the school year. So check out the website there for registration dates. The last mathy / sciencey related program through our department is called Stanford University - Level Online. So again, kind of a confusing name. They all begin with Stanford, but we call this program Stanford ULO. And this program is for academic credit. So if this is something that a lot of students use to supplement their studies at their high school, or to take as part of a gap year series of studies, or just to prepare for their university courses. But it's intentionally offering online courses in advanced math and physics for high school students. They offer courses in the summer, fall, and spring, so year round. And the tuition is $1,500 for each semester, and there is financial aid available for this too. Their classes start with multivariable calculus. So if that's a level of math that you might hit in high school, or are interested to aim for that, ULO would be an option to take multivariable calculus if that's not offered by your current school. And then their math classes go in the years beyond multivariable calc. So it's very definitely an advanced curriculum, but that's also why it's something that we offer, because we know a lot of schools maybe aren't able to offer multivariable calculus, if they only have a few students who might be interested, but we can offer a class with a really good sized group and have much more of a classroom feeling. There's also advanced physics courses as involved in Stanford ULO, and this is AP Physics C, Light and Heat. So this is after you've taken AP Physics regular, and then AP Physics C, which is like another semester worth of AP Physics. And then the 4th and 5th semester of advanced physics comes after that, and that's what Light and Heat is. I hopefully have done a decent job explaining the prerequisites just there, but check out the ULO website to see sort of how the prerequisites all fit together for each class. Especially the mechanics class is particularly popular, because I know that's a class that's fairly rare at a lot of high schools. And that for students who participate in Stanford ULO, you get a transcript and can transfer this credit back to your high school or use it as part of your college application. So this is the one program that offers academic credit. So with that, I will open up the floor for questions again too. And then I can also share a little bit more about the Stanford Middle School Scholars Program. But I just wanted to see what kind of questions. Ethan, is there payment required during the application process? It's required at the end of the application when you're ready to submit. That's when the application fee would be charged to your account, and you can make that payment with a credit card or a debit card. But the application fee, we don't want it to be a concern or a burden to anyone who's applying. So if the application fee is a concern for your family, you can request a fee waiver. And basically you would email our team, we'll send you a link where you can fill out a form to request the waiver, and then we would credit you or waive the application fee so you wouldn't have to pay it. The fee waiver is also available for the financial aid application too. So we don't want the application fees to stand in the way for anyone that might not be able to apply because of them. For SUMaC online versus in person, is anything else different? The dates are different, and obviously the social activities are different. So that you'll notice the online program is 3 weeks long, and the in-person program is 4 weeks long. And that has to do with the time of day and the number of hours that you meet every day with your class. And then also because, we expect people to have to travel in, obviously, for the in-person program. So there's a little bit of a buffer there built in. So that's the main difference, other than, of course, the cost, because the cost for the in-person program is higher due to room and board and the fun social activities that are part of the program too. And if you have more questions about what's involved in the programs or the costs or anything, check out the website. There's a lot more information there about what all is included. And especially the note that like traveling to California and to the Stanford campus is not included in those costs. So whether you might be driving or flying or taking the train, you know, whatever your preferred mode of transport would be, that would be an extra cost not included with the program. We can do airport pickup, but the flights themselves are not included. For Abrina, what are the registration dates for Math Circle? It varies for every quarter. So the current ones are on their website, but the best way to like sign up for that program or to indicate interest is to join their mailing list or their notification list. And that way they will notify you to say, you know, the next registration opens in April, and, you know, here are the steps to be ready for that. So the registration dates are different for every quarter. Good question. When it comes to out-of-state students who'd want to join an in-person program, how would traveling in work? Well, so the way that it would work is that students are notified in middle of April if you're admitted to the program. And at that time, you would make travel arrangements with your family. So this could be, you know, thinking, you know, we'll be able to drive over if you live within a few hours of the Bay Area, maybe. And you might drive over to Palo Alto, California, or perhaps you live on the East Coast or outside the United States, right? And then you would fly in, probably to the San Francisco airport or the San Jose airport, which is actually closer and more convenient, but San Francisco usually has cheaper flights. Sort of depends on where you're coming from. And then you would provide your travel information to the program coordinator. So you would either tell them, I'm arriving on this day by car, you know, my family will be dropping me off, or I'm flying into the airport. I would love it if someone could pick me up. There's sort of different ways to indicate the support that you need. Some students will, you know, maybe be picked up by a family member who lives in the Bay, so they don't need to be picked up at the airport. But we know that a lot of students would like to be picked up at the airport by the program. And so you would give us, you know, your flight information or like a phone number for your family if you're driving, or maybe your train ticket if you're taking Amtrak. Although it's not entirely that convenient, but I do know students have taken the train to our programs before. And so you just provide that information to our program and then check into the residence hall. You'll be given a key and a student ID card and all kinds of other things for you to live and you know, eat and you know, have access to different resources on campus. For SUMaC, is there a drop-in in-person option for local folks? Good question. No, there is not. We don't offer sort of a day program for SUMaC. It's a residential program only. So if you're interested to participate in the in-person program, you're required to live in the residence hall because it's part of the program experience. We want students to have that sort of connection with their peers, you know, have access to the different sort of resources on campus. And so all students are required to live in the residence hall. There are certain times that you know, nearby family members can come and like check the student out from their residence hall and maybe go to dinner there. That's definitely a very popular option for students who have family traveling in or nearby. But then you sort of get checked out by your family member and then checked back in again with the residence hall staff. For an in-person program, what type of social events? Oh, this is very timely because I went to a meeting today where they talked a little bit more about this. So it includes things like learning about the library resources at Stanford University. It includes like a meeting / boba session with the admissions office, the Stanford undergraduate admissions office. There's also other guest speakers that they would invite. I think they're planning to have a fire pit social because there's a few options to do that on Stanford campus where you all get together and maybe make s'mores or some better snacks than that, perhaps. There's also some field trips, like off-campus field trips that are planned to different highlighted places around the Bay. I won't spoil it because I think they're pretty exciting and they'll be more officially announced later in the spring. There's also things like social activities within the residence halls. There's social activities on campus with different departments. So things like, you know, if you're interested in the law, there's sort of different like public or social events that you can go to at the Stanford School of Law or at the Graduate School of Business, things like this. And then there's also events that are specifically planned just for SUMaC students or just for summer humanities students that are specific to your interests. So things like that. And there would be something happening every day, every afternoon, whether it's you play volleyball on the quad or you go to a guest speaker. And then there's activities and the sort of traveling events would happen more on the weekend. Oh, good question. Is there an exam to qualify for the Math Circle? No, there is not. The Math Circle registration process is much simpler than the Math Camp, even though they have very similar names. Math Circle is much more of a first come, first serve registration. No like exam or application is needed. Whereas Math Camp, the SUMaC program, there is an exam for that, and it is a very formal admissions process where we look at your transcripts and your essays and teacher recommendation and things like that. If Stanford were to pick up a student from the airport, is that a fee? No, that's included. Great question, because otherwise it would be a very pricey Uber that I do not recommend, having done it myself. Is Stanford Math Circle only in person? No, actually Stanford Math Circle is online. Before the pandemic, Math Circle was in person, actually in the building that I used to work at on the campus. So I had a really good sense of when parents came to pick up their students. But now the program is online. So Math Circle is open to anyone from around the world, around the United States. And the program is all online, meeting once weekly, actually through Zoom. So everyone is welcome to apply for that, not just folks who live within commuting distance to Stanford. Other questions before I share a little bit more about the Middle School Scholars Program? Great. Well, so I don't have a slide prepared for this just because this program is usually for younger students. So what I'm going to do is just show the website. So pardon me taking over your screens again. So the Stanford Middle School Scholars Program is specifically for students in grades 6 and 7 who are from a low-income family and they're interested to attend a very rigorous academic high school. And so the Middle School Scholars Program is specifically for students who maybe don't have that kind of academic challenge in their school environment now, and they want sort of a bridge program to help them prepare for a rigorous high school. And then it also includes not just like a fun class in the summertime, but also workshops during the school year. So this is a little bit different than the other programs I've been talking about today. Yes, I'll be glad to share the link. Thank you for listening to me type. The Stanford Middle School Scholars Program, this is the second year that it's being offered. So this is the newest of all of our programs. And so some highlights about this program are that there's a 2-week course in the summertime where students are with a group of about 15 students or so and their instructor. And their instructor is part of Stanford Online High School. So they're very much experts in the subjects that they teach, and they're specifically interested to teach middle school students at that level of their development. And the summer classes, there's actually a list of the classes that are offered on the program overview. So this summer it's Democracy and Dissent, a name that I love, as well as Social Movements Through Graphic Novels and Media Literacy in the Post-Truth Era. So I'm truly not doing them justice just by reading the titles. So please feel free to look through their website for a little bit more details. But that's the summer course part of this program. And then during the academic year, students meet once a week for workshops. And these workshops include things like essay writing skills, or how to apply to high schools, which is a workshop that I ran. It can also include things like preparing for interview skills, or socio-emotional wellness, or gosh, all kinds of things. I mean, there's about 15 different workshop topics that are scheduled between September and March during the school year. So if this is something that you or your family or a younger student that you know might be interested in, please feel free to share the link with them. And if you're not quite sure if you're eligible, or if you want to know more about the program, email us. We'll be glad to help. There's a few more questions answered in the FAQ section of the website, just because this program has a few more eligibility requirements than the other programs do. Good question from Jay. Can a not low-income family student qualify for the middle school scholars program? No, it's specifically for middle school scholars. For students from a low-income background. For students who don't come from a low-income background, you can definitely check out the Stanford Math Circle, or reach out to our office, and we'll be glad to share a list of other sort of academic enrichment programs. But the purpose of this program is to support students from a low-income background. How long are the classes for Math Circle each week? I believe they're about an hour and 20 minutes. It might be a little bit more than that. Maybe it takes a few minutes to settle in to Zoom every week. But yeah, it's not a tremendously long meeting time, especially for students in younger grades. For the family portion of the application, if I don't know the information needed to list a parent, should I just not list them? No, you should definitely still list them, because that information is really helpful to us. So if you're not sure what information to include, I would talk to your family, whether it's maybe you don't know their email address, and you can list your parent or legal guardian's email as a replacement. But that we want all parents, all guardians to be listed in the application. If you have more questions about this sounds like a great thing that our team can help with. So you can definitely email our team, and we'll be glad to help answer questions more specifically for your situation. And please add your siblings. It always seems like we have a lot of only children applying to these programs, but it really helps us to know if students have siblings in the program, because maybe they'll apply in a few years, and we want to make sure that the information sort of matches up. So please enter your family members in your immediate family. Any other questions or any other information I can return back to about the Summer Institutes, the Summer Humanities Institute program, the Stanford University Math Camp, the Stanford Math Circle. I realize how similar all these names are. The Stanford ULO Advanced Math and Physics program, or the Middle School Scholars program. If any of these, if you have questions about any of these, I'm glad to help, or you can email our team, of course, after this, and we'll be glad to help throughout the spring. All the questions have dried up? Well, good. Hopefully that means I've answered all of them today. If you think of more, I always think of more questions as soon as I leave a webinar or hang up a phone, so please feel free to reach out. All right then. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight, everyone. It was really a pleasure to share more about the programs and help answer your awesome questions. I really appreciate all the engagement. And yeah, feel free to email our team. We're happy to help. And oh, a few more questions. Great. If Stanford were to pick up a student from the airport, is there a fee? No. No fee for airport pickup. Yeah, so Jay, a summary list of all these links. It's actually, I can tell you one link. It's the SPCS, our hosts will share it with everyone in a second. It's the link for our entire department, Stanford Pre-Collegiate Studies. And so on the Pre-Collegiate Studies webpage is where you can see all of the programs listed and be able to sort through the different options there. And it keeps it nice and tidy as far as sharing links and keeping all the program names straight. So that's definitely the one link that I would share just to help keep everybody looking at the right webpage. Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate your time. I hope you have a good evening after this. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you everyone for joining. It will be posted on our past webinar page. If you have any questions, feel free to email Emily or her team at the email that was dropped in the chat at precollegiate@stanford.edu. Have a good night, everyone.